Hey guys, it's Rachel Castile. Welcome to Heartwork Monday here at Typology Corner. This series is about healing your heart through the lens of the Enneagram and learning how to grow in a way that actually honors the way you're wired. It honors who you are. In today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to navigate conflict and set boundaries without losing connection or without losing yourself. If you're someone who avoids conflict or goes silent to keep the peace, or you wait until you explode before finally speaking up, this video is for you because real boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about protecting the connection, starting with the connection to yourself. And then also we're going to get into how this plays out for each of the 9 Enneagram types. So yeah, let's go on ahead and get into it. Conflict and boundaries, like where this has shown up in my life. I've had to set a lot of boundaries, and what that looked like is tuning into myself to learn what it is that I actually need and communicating that. It can feel like a conflict to set a boundary in relationships. It could be even like boundaries with jobs or whatever, like of what is healthy for you, what is good, and adjusting how relationship dynamics function. It can be scary to do that whenever you know, like, you're the one who's initiating the change, the dynamic shift. You can feel a lot of change around that, but the fruit of it has been incredible and it's so worth it. And yeah, today I just want to bring out another way to process this to see the benefit of boundaries, that it actually is strengthening the connection that you have with people because you're honoring yourself. So you're being honest in your relationships, and it does foster that in the other person. It creates a space for them to do the same as well. So yeah, let's look at conflict, and that conflict isn't the enemy. We often treat conflict like something to fear or avoid, but conflict is, in its healthiest form, is just two truths meeting each other honestly. Yes, it's allowing myself to say my truth, and it's allowing the other person to say their truth. And there doesn't necessarily have to be agreement, and that's where you have the sense of conflict. It's easy to avoid the tension of these moments. But in its healthiest form, it really is just two truths meeting each other, allowing others the space to tell you their truth, and staying true to yourself enough to communicate your truth. And boundaries, they're not walls, they're just clarity. A boundary says, this is who I am, this is what I need, this is how we stay in relationship without losing each other. Yeah, it's so important to communicate these things. When we see boundaries as care and not control, we stop avoiding them and we start creating safety. Yes. So this is how relationships move from being toxic, codependent, binding, limiting, to be a freedom, like a free place of expression. That is safe. It's like I'm saying, it's safe for you to tell me your truth and vice versa. So, are you really in a relationship if you're not being you? If you had to put yourself on the back burner in order to be accepted, to be liked, to be connected? Or are you really connecting if you had to lay down everything that you value, everything that matters to you? I might be talking in extremes a little bit, but yeah, this is why it's so important, because you can be in agreements that aren't good for you, that are weighing on you, that you may just be numbing out to kind of forget how the arrangement's not very good. Trying to forget your pain, honestly, to forget your experience of a relationship. So it's kind of a denial thing that I think we can step into to create connection. Yeah. And it can be uncomfortable to shift a relationship, but this is what it's really about. Whenever you see that boundaries is self care, and as you begin to set the boundaries you need, uh, this becomes your effect. I like to talk about this on different topics that, like, what you stand for, what your standards are, the way you treat yourself, you start to create a culture of that in your relationships that it gives other people the permission for that as well, to begin to care for themselves. That this is it's not a wall. I've heard boundaries described as more of like a fence. It's like it opens and it lets certain things in, but it's closed to certain things. And yeah, it's like learning to tend to the garden of your heart, learning to hear your heart, and to be a steward of what can come in, protecting your peace, your energy. Um, yeah, in order to be the best you have to discern what it is that you need. Um, yeah. But yeah, whenever we stop avoiding boundaries, we start creating safety. And this is what we're going to get into and describe next, what boundaries looks like for each of the 9 Enneagram types, starting with type 1 through type 9. And yeah, I may not sit too long on them, but I think they paint a good picture, what I have outlined here. Type 1, they are the reformer, they're perfectionists. Um, you want things to be right, fair, and just. But when things feel off, you may take on too much responsibility or suppress your anger. Your growth is in allowing others to disappoint you without fixing them. A boundary for you might sound like, I'm allowed to step away before I reach resentment. Yeah. Type ones, they push down their anger. It can kind of leak out in resentment. So yeah, the boundary is, it's okay to step away when something's not good for you anymore. Um, yeah, that you don't have to take on that you have to make everything good. You have to perfect everything around you. If there's other parties like that, they don't want what you want anymore. They don't want, you know, they're not moving at the pace that you're at. They're not growing the way you're growing. So, yeah, a boundary for type 1 is saying I can step away so that I keep my heart clean. I don't want to actually develop anger towards this person. I can step away and, yeah, not have to carry that, not have to feel responsible. Next, type 2, the helper, the giver. You give and give and give, but sometimes you give past your own capacity. You might fear that saying no means you're unloving. A boundary for you might sound like, I matter too. I can love others without abandoning myself. Yeah, so true. The fear of setting the boundary is like, I'm not loving. Telling somebody no can feel um, like you're being selfish as a type 2. I'm a type 2. And yeah, boundaries is saying I matter too. I can love others without abandoning myself. I can check in with my needs, not just look away from me so I can be good to you. It's like, well, what do I need so that when I give, I'm not giving from emptiness. My value's not wrapped up in having to like reaffirm my value through giving again and giving again and giving again, with nothing coming back in return. Um, yeah, where there's no honoring of self in the situation of my own needs as a type 2. So yeah, I can love others without abandoning myself. I can stay in tune with myself while I'm present and loving and giving to you. Next is type 3, the achiever or performer. You want to succeed relationally and emotionally, but in conflict, you might perform or pivot instead of staying vulnerable. A boundary for you might sound like, I don't have to manage how I'm seen. I can tell the truth. I don't have to manage how I'm seen. I can tell the truth. Yeah, I relate to this a lot. Type 3 is my wing. Yeah. The vulnerability of just telling the truth instead of managing image, managing how I'm perceived. But what does my heart need to say along the way that I can succeed and grow while telling my truth, while being transparent and being honest about what's going on inside of me? Yeah. So conflict in a type 3 leads to performance. It leads to dodging anything that would tarnish how I'm perceived in the eyes of the person I'm talking to. That's kind of the mindset of it. So the freedom is the boundary, is saying I can tell the truth. I'm gonna let myself stay in tune with my heart, that the outside doesn't define me. Yeah. And for type 4, the individualist, the romantic, you feel everything deeply and want others to meet you there. But unmet emotional needs can turn into silent tests or withdrawal. Yeah. A boundary for you might sound like, I'm allowed to name what I need instead of hoping they guess. Yeah, this is so good. As a type 4, staying with your emotions, communicating your emotions instead of withdrawing or having tests on people to see, like, if you love me, you would know what I need, kind of thing. It could look different ways, silent treatment, different things like that. When you're having unmet emotional needs. So the boundary that sets you free is, I'm allowed to name what I need instead of hoping that they guess. So that's staying present with the emotion, communicating it, keeping connection, that your emotions don't lead to isolation or withdrawal or emotional games in a way. Yeah. Next is type 5, the investigator. I can't think of like another term for them right now, but yeah, the investigator. I don't know why that bothers me. Like, I want to look it up. It's all good. Yeah, type 5, the investigator. You prize privacy and autonomy. Conflict may feel invasive, and setting boundaries might feel like too much energy. A boundary for you might sound like, I can protect my peace without disappearing completely. Yes. They are a withdrawal type, like type 4, type 9 as well. So yeah, it's that similar thing of knowing that you won't be depleted and knowing that you can stay present and still have your own space, but to be with people, to remain present in what you're experiencing. And yeah, that you can set the boundaries you need for your energy, but you can also stay present with people and you can stand by that boundary. It might feel draining to set one. It'd be easier to just withdraw, disconnect, but that element of communication and it's kind of revealing in a way. So with type 5, there's that sense of like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want my needs to be too much for you. So I'm going to withdraw, take care of myself, sort my own things out, learn what I need to learn, research what I need to research, maintain your privacy, and to not be dependent in a way is an element there. So yeah, in talking with people and like expressing the boundary, you're kind of revealing a lot about yourself. And that can be a vulnerable experience. It's like saying, I have a need. This is what I need. And, but yeah, just know that you have grace to say that. You're worth it. You're not a burden. You can process emotions with people. You can communicate that, and it won't lead to an invasion. It's just, it sets the parameters you need to have connection and also to have your autonomy and your privacy. So, yeah. It's funny, I said I won't say that much outside of the outline, and I am. So yeah. In my brain I'm always thinking of like that I give equal um time, attention, or description of the different types. So uh here we go. Next, for type 6, the loyalists, you crave safety and trust, but conflict can feel threatening, and your mind may jump to worst case scenarios. A boundary for you might sound like, I can hold uncertainty without trying to control every outcome. This is good. Yeah. So you're kind of, this is a picture of like catching yourself in the frenzy of the mind, wanting to prepare and plan for everything that could go wrong in the face of feeling uncertain. And the boundary that's actually needed is not chasing that down and like solidifying every possibility and preparing for that. The boundary stops before that, that in the place of fear and uncertainty, in the fact that you're craving safety and trust, it's like stopping short of the mental frenzy, the anxiety, and telling yourself, I can sit in uncertainty without having to control all the outcomes. Like, it's actually choosing that you are safe. It's choosing that, yeah, that the conflict, you can actually weather it. You can be courageous in the face of fear, in the face of a lot of negative possibilities, and just say, I'm not going to let that like lead me. I'm not going to follow that to the point that it controls my mind. So it's like sitting back, finding your peace, and saying, I can hold uncertainty without trying to control every outcome. I can be present in what I'm experiencing. I can be present with fear. I can be present with the possibilities I don't like. And I can look around and I can take the world in. I can stay present. And this is how type 6 begins to be more inward guided, instead of like finding their security in locking on to the outside. It's a choice to not let fear control you. Yeah. That's what type 6 courage looks like. And then next, type 7, the enthusiast, the adventurer. You want lightness and joy, but when things get tense, you might distract, reframe, or avoid. A boundary for you might sound like, I can stay present with discomfort without losing my optimism. I love this. Yeah, type 7's like greatest characteristics is joy, is freedom, is the positivity, and being able to be optimistic. That's a good thing. It's not just some negative trait. It's only negative whenever you start to avoid something that you need to look at, that is causing you to not be present anymore. And optimism can be an escape. But yeah, the boundary is, I can stay present with the discomfort without losing the hope, losing the joy, losing the gratitude, without losing the positive outlook on life. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's a strength of type 7. But how that gets sustained in a present way that respects reality is when the discomfort, the pain, the emotions that aren't that great, the parts of life that feel messy, when you can look at those two and still be grateful and still like find the good, kind of the silver lining in it of like what you're getting out of it, how it benefits you, what you can absorb from it that produces growth, that keeps the hope alive, the optimism of type 7. um, when you believe I can stay present with discomfort, that's the boundary that sevens need within themselves. I can stay present in this and I'll be able to see this through. There's hope in this. There's joy in this. It's deeper joy than just reframing things and looking away or avoiding something. So, yeah, that's the beauty of type 7s. And now for type 8, the challenger. You value honesty and directness, but conflict may trigger intensity, and vulnerability can feel unsafe. A boundary for you might sound like, I don't have to fight to be heard. I can lead with strength and softness. Yes, this is good. Yeah, the honesty and the directness, those are very great traits of type 8 that cuts through. It speaks to the core of something very beautifully. But the habit of being strong and not being weak, it can be like to fight. It can be that intensity that comes out of avoiding vulnerability. Excuse me, y'all. I'm feeling tension like up in here. And yeah, I'm letting it come out. Yeah. An intensity, the conflict can trigger intensity that comes from the vulnerability of the interaction. So they can come on strong, they can push against because of feeling in a vulnerable position. So in like looking at the boundary within yourself as a 8, it's like stopping before you do that and letting yourself know, I don't have to fight to be heard. I can stay honest. I can be direct. I can lead with strength and softness. So it's knowing that your vulnerability is a good thing and that you are safe, that you won't be betrayed, you won't be taken advantage of. You can let go of control. I think type 8s are really connected to power and control, making sure that no one has control over them and that they're in the position of power to prevent betrayal and being taken advantage of is like the core fear in that way. So type 8s is whenever they can begin to share the tender part and to be honest about that and to let go of control and to know that they still are autonomous. They still are free as an individual. You know, that individuality, that wanting to be in the seat of power over their own life. Vulnerability doesn't threaten that at all. Yeah. That there's actually real strength in letting that inner softness out. Yeah, so the boundary is before the intensity to push against, to fight the I guess the other party in the conflict. Yeah. Okay, next, type 9, the peacemaker. Yeah, the peacemaker. I think that's the best term for them, the peacemaker, creating peace through the strategy of numbing out, yeah, to attain it. So you want harmony, but you often go quiet in conflict and you say yes when you mean no. A boundary for you might sound like, my peace matters too. I can speak up without causing harm. Yeah. So conflict, type nines are like, I can't deal with conflict. There's the risk of losing connection, that is, or of being separate, of being separated, disconnected. That risk, it's tempting for the type nine to just silence themselves, to numb out, and to deny their own passions, to deny their own opinions, that they even have one. Therefore, there is no conflict because all parties have been heard without noticing they didn't say their piece. They didn't say no. They said yes when they really didn't want to do it. They went along to get along, is kind of the idea. So, wanting harmony, they can create it from a place of self-elimination in a way, silencing themselves. So a boundary for type 9 is stopping in the face of conflict. What to do is, my peace matters too. I can speak up without causing harm. I can be heard. It's going to be a different view in the room. People are going to look at me. They're going to be like, huh, okay. I didn't just agree and merge. And now I have peace with myself, so that I don't disconnect from myself, that I don't create external peace and internal peace by erasing my point of view. Now I have peace in me. It's like, no, it's a self-forgetting, self-sacrificing sort of peace. You can say what you need. You can speak up. And yeah, it won't cause harm. It'll be different. If you've been used to eliminating conflict through silencing yourself, you're going to experience a shift in dynamics. It's true. You're going to have some looks you weren't getting before because you kind of controlled and made sure that you never got them. So now there's that little ripple. There's that ripple, that wave, but everything that moves, if you're in the water, there's waves that come from you, and that's a good thing. It's okay to exist. It's okay to people to move out of the way because you came in the room. That's a good thing. Yeah. So I can relate to type 9 a lot. I feel like in a way they might exemplify this picture of boundaries the most. Yeah. In wanting peace, we can not set the boundaries we need, and we can be living in such a way that doesn't actually further our growth. We can be stuck because of the boundaries we're not willing to set. And yeah, this is why it's so important. Real boundaries protect your peace and your relationships. That's what it really does. It's ensuring that they're healthy, that each party is getting what they need in the relationship, and therefore, like, it's such a blessing. It doesn't bind either person. Yeah. I'm gonna pause it real quick. I've got a lot that I'm processing right now out of my body. Okay, guys, I'm back. Thank you for the break. Y'all didn't really get much of a break, but I needed that break. I guess this is an example of type 2, like, getting my needs met as I give, as I create. So yeah, I'm learning this right now. Yeah. But here's what I want to remind you. You're not bad at boundaries. Sounds like it. Maybe in hearing all of this, you might think, man, I'm bad at boundaries. But you just learn to survive by staying quiet, blending in, or fixing things. So think of it as a fixation you're focused on. That the boundary is a choice too, but if you're choosing the other one, you don't even notice that you didn't set the boundary. So really, setting boundaries is about noticing the pattern, noticing the tendency within yourself, and going, I can choose something different right now. What would be healthy for me? And usually by what your Enneagram type, it's related to the boundary of your type that you need. That's going to help you to grow and to have a better relationship with yourself. Yeah. So you're not bad at boundaries. You have the ability to set them. What survival strategy are you caught up in? Staying quiet, blending in, or fixing things? It looks different for each of the types, but at the core, we're doing that. We're being conflict avoidant. We're jumping in. We're addressing the issue. We're pushing against it. Um, we're feeling responsible but resentful. Yeah. We're trying to prevent something. Um, we're losing connection altogether, which is not necessarily the right kind of boundary. That's just a total disconnect. Because boundaries is about relations. It's about being relational. It's just navigating how to do it, navigating what is healthy. What do I need to communicate? How do I need to function in this relationship that it's positive for me and positive for the other party? Boundaries are things you have to set, review, adjust whenever things are getting better. You know, if the other person is respecting it, maybe they're trustworthy of a different boundary now. But that's how relationships function. It's me seeing what I need and then me seeing where people can flow with me based on how they're doing in their life as well. So, yeah, it's dynamics that are moving, they're changing. And yeah, finding what health looks like for you is getting in tune with what you actually need. And as your needs are getting met, you're learning like the standards that protect your peace, that maintain healthy relationships, that maintains clear communication, honesty. Yeah, it's an ongoing conversation of boundaries. And there's more I can go into this and talk about at a later time. It's such a broad topic that, there's a lot of areas to look at around it. But yeah, also looking at conflict is a good thing. Just to reiterate that conflict is a good thing. If you can stay true, if you can communicate along the way when little conflicts are popping up, then you don't have explosive things that's like a year of uncommunicated things. It's like finding a way of like, how can I communicate how this is making me feel in a way that um, that gets the message across, that adjusts how things are working. It could be a job. It's like, I can't work after 5 because it's cutting into my family time. It's cutting into this, or it's not worth the wages that I'm earning. If I'm not being paid, it's like looking at that and like deciding what your standard is, what you need, assessing that. I wish I had more practical examples in my mind right now, but yeah, at its core, this is what boundaries is about. And it's unique to each person. It's unique to how we're wired. So yeah, if this has been informative to you or intriguing about your Enneagram type and you're not sure what your type is and you want to learn more, feel free to book a session with me, and you can do that at typologycorner.com. I'd love to type you in your Enneagram type. And also I have a lot of free information on the channel where you can look and browse the different Enneagram types and to learn more about the core motivations of each. And yeah, to find what your Enneagram home is. Yeah. So continuing a bit on a couple of my last points here. Let's see, back to survival. So yeah, you just learn how to survive by staying quiet, blending in, or fixing things. That survival mode served you, but now it's time to live from a deeper place. Yes. You don't need to match someone else's style. You don't need to get it perfect. You don't need to start. No, sorry. Read right. You don't need to get it perfect. You just need to start tuning in to what feels true for you. You're allowed to have needs. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to protect your energy. Yeah. about saying no. Like, it matters the motivation. If somebody's trying to guilt you into something, it's okay to say no if you can tell the motivation is wrong. If you can tell it's not actually healthy for you right now, it's okay to say no. It's okay to even wait. Part of being able to set boundaries is slowing down enough to go, I can't even discern my needs right now. I can't even tell where I need to be on Friday. So before I tell you yes, I need to check my schedule. I need to check with my husband. I need to check in with my week, my energy levels. It's okay to wait and protect your energy. This is how you catch the autopilot tendency, the survival strategy. It starts with saying no. It starts with saying, I'll get back to you. I'll think about it. I don't know how I feel about that yet. All of these things is honoring and saying, it's okay for me to check in with myself. Yeah, because a lot of our conflicts, while they can be so extreme, it's like I haven't communicated something for so long that I've agreed to things I shouldn't have even agreed to. So now it's like so astronomical to back out because you have all this evidence on me that, like I said, I love it. I want to do that. And I wasn't that in tune with myself when I said it. I did it for the wrong reason. Like, it's all these sort of things when you get on the path of like health for yourself, what boundaries you need, it comes down to a bunch of agreements. Like, the ultimate thing is like we have authority over our own lives. So if we're enslaved, it's because we came under something. We agreed to something. We gave our power away. And it's because we weren't making decisions tuned in. So I just need to tune in to what is true and honor myself. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. I'd love to hear in the comments, if you do know your Enneagram type, what type are you? And what's one boundary that you're learning to honor in your life that you can discern? I'd love to hear your stories around what you've struggled with, how you overcame it. If there's something that you don't struggle with anymore, that's a great testimony. I'd love to hear it in the comments. Also, if someone you love is struggling to speak up, share this video with them. It might be the encouragement that they need right now. And subscribe for more Heart Work Mondays. Every single week, I talk about heart health through the lens of the Enneagram. And yeah, subscribe here on YouTube or on Facebook, Instagram. Most of my content is around different social media platforms. And share it out with your social networks, wherever you are. Share it out. It may be a blessing to somebody. And let's keep going. Let's keep growing without guilt. And it's okay to say what's on your heart. It's okay to say no. Yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.